Let's get into it. That was trash, throw it away. Hello everyone, what's up and welcome back to part 3 of extensions. In this video, we will build on part 2 and add a dockable pane to our extension. Dockable panes are the windows in Studio Pro that provide you with insights about your app. However, you can create a dockable pane to do anything. In this case, I will create a pane that uses a web view to load in a website. I will be adding this into the existing extension, but you can do this as a standalone project if you wish. All right, let's get into it. To start off, we need to alter our existing internal class declaration. So in addition to iMessage box service, we also need to make use of a docking window service. So over here in the braces, we can add docking window service is of type docking window service. And next we need to add a new yield return statement to return the option for our new pane in the get menus function. So remember, get menus is what's going to return all of the options when we click that button at the top. So we can say yield return new menu view model, and then in brackets we're going to say open pane in quotes, and we're going to do a inline operation over here and just say docking window service dot open pane, and then in brackets my dockable pane extension dot id. All right, so this line that we just added over here now references an object which doesn't exist. So we need to go and create a new file called my dockable pane extension, and that's going to be returned here in this yield return statement. So to do this, we can right click on the project over here in the Solution Explorer, and we can say add new, add item, and we can add a new class called my dockable pane extension dot cs. And then we just need to open the file, same as the first time. And now we need to add our export statement. So the last time we exported it as a type of menu extension. Now we're going to export it as a type of dockable pane extension. So to do this, in square braces below the namespace, I'm going to say export, and then braces, type of another brace, and then I say dockable pane extension, and then close off the braces. Then we need to add our class declaration here. So it's a public class, my dockable pane extension, and then we can say colon is a dockable pane extension. Okay, so after our class declaration, we need to add a few values here before we can finish off this class. The first thing we need is the ID we just referenced earlier in the other class. So I'm going to add it as a constant, and I'm going to say over here, public constant string ID is equal to, and then in quotes, my dash dockable dash pane. Close the quotes and end the line. The next thing we need to do is override ID with the ID we just created. So we can say public override string, and then its lowercase id is equal to the ID we just created. The final thing we need to do is give this web view a URL to open. So we can do that just as another value here. So we say public override dockable pane view model base, and then open, and then braces. So we're doing a little inline function, and we're going to say is a new my dockable pane extension web view model. A bit long, but it works. And then in braces, we need to give it the URL that we're actually going to open. So we need to, just in quotes again, I'm just going to give it a YouTube URL. You might know this one. So it's https://www.youtube.com/@Mendix community. And you can close this off, close the braces, and end the line. So that very long word we just created over there doesn't exist, and it's causing an error in our code. So we need to just go and create that as a new file. So we're going to create a new file here, same as before. Right click in the Solution Explorer and say Add New. Then we can give it the name My Dockable. So this needs to match what we said earlier. So My Dockable Pane Extension Web View Model. All right, now we just need to define this class. So internal class, My Dockable Pane, and this needs to accept a string parameter, which is going to be the URL. So we can in brackets say string my URL. And this is going to be of type web view dockable pane view model. Now this class over here comes from the extensions API. It's in that NuGet package we downloaded in the first video. The final thing we need to do is initialize the web view. So we can just do that over here in this block here, and we can say public override void, doesn't need to return anything, init web view. So this is us initializing it, and this is I web view web view. And again, another inline function. We're going to say web view dot address equals new URI, and then in brackets you give it the parameter of the class, so my URL. And this is what's going to actually open the URL in the browser. So now we can just repeat the build process we did in the previous video. So we can just say here build and success. Okay, so now we can go to the actual physical directory by right-clicking in your Solution Explorer, and then at the bottom here you can say go to files. And now we just need to copy these 4 files over here. So select them and Control-C. And now we need to move these to our folder in our Mendix app directory. So if I go back to Studio Pro, and I can say app, view app directory. And in here in our extensions folder, I can just overwrite the existing 4 files that are there already. So I can just say Control-V and replace, and there we go. Now I just need to head back to Studio Pro, and I can hit F4 to synchronize, or you can go underneath app and it's there, synchronize app directory. And if everything is successful, your Dockable pane should now appear under your menu options. So if we click it, we can see now there, open pane that is existing. And if I click it, it is opening YouTube. And that's it. That's all for this video. I'm Ryan Mockey, and I'll see you in the next one.